G'day, g'day, how you going? What do you know? They'll strike a light. G'day, g'day, and how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Now we come to the portion of the service before we do our Bible study that we address some end times news and trends that are happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. Another week unfolds. It's exciting to live in this time in world history as we see so many things happening on a global scale and as we see Bible prophecy unfolding and all the pieces coming closer and closer together. As we say every week, there's so many news items to consider. This one was quite interesting, how out of the Telegraph talked about how the euro would collapse in the next 18 months, warns a man tipped as Trump's EU ambassador pick. So the article talked about how the euro would collapse within the next 18 months. The man tipped for the next U.S. ambassador to Brussels claimed by adding that he would shorten the EU single currency if he was an investor. Professor Ted Mullock, a former Oxford University professor, now at University of Reading, added that the UK and the US could cut bilateral trade deal inside the 90 days and that elections in Europe this year would sweep away as the EU as we know it. One thing I know to do in 2017 is short the euro, according to Malik told the BBC, and he says that I think that the currency not only in demise but a real problem and could in fact collapse in the coming year and a half. Mr. Malik, a Euro skeptic French and German speaker who has ties to the Roosevelt family, had reported interviewed for the EU ambassador role and is expected to be appointed following the confirmation of Rex Tillerson, the U.S. Secretary of State. He dismisses the objections of the expert that the U.S.-UK trade deal would rapidly get bogged down in difficult disputes over agricultural, reciprocal access for financial services, industries, healthcare, privatization, and genetically modified foods. Some of us who have worked on Wall Street or those in the city know that if you get the right people in the right place, in the right room, and the right data and the right energy, and Trump is certainly high energy, you get things done, he said. The 64-year-old academic was reported to recommend to Mr. Trump by Nigel Farage, the former UK leader who backed Mr. Trump in a crisis in his campaign and has retained close ties to the administration. Mr. Malik, who is a long-standing supporter of the World Economic Forum and the CEO of Global Fiduciary Governance, strategically advised the firm that he also predicted that Brussels would back down over its refusal to negotiate an early trade deal with Britain. At the present, EU leaders are sticking to the position that they will only commence trade negotiations after Britain has completed the 2-year Article 50 divorce process and not before. So we're starting to see more of a development happening throughout Europe. Not only do we see the refugee crisis going on, but you're going to see a currency crisis, and eventually, as we say time and again, there will be such a vacuum in the world that there is a rise and a need for a leader and a coming leader who would be the Antichrist, who will seem to have all the solutions to all these problems that are going on. But this is one of those interesting articles that you can see more and more pieces of this puzzle coming together. On a technological report, and this was quite interesting to see and develop, and not so far in the distant future, how the U.S. Navy plans to fire laser weapons off the ships within a year. This came out of Business Insider, and also the Daily Caller had the same type of report. The U.S. Navy is moving toward warp speed to developing lasers within a more lethally precision and power sources as a way to destroy attacking missiles, drones, aircraft, and other threats. According to Real Admiral Ronald Boxall, we're doing a lot more with lasers these days. He said it earlier in the month. The Navy plans to fire at least a 150 kilowatt weapon off the test ship within a year, and then a year later, so we'll have that on a carrier or destroyer or both. It almost seems as if it's a Star Trek or Star Wars that is developing here, where you're seeing these lasers attacking, and maybe these other countries will be developing the same type of weaponry. But it's one of those interesting development of technology. On another issue, kind of cleaning house issue, as Trump moves into the White House, there is this report out of the Republican news that talks about how Trump orders the removal of Islamic symbols and practices in the White House. Obama, according to this report, was seen storming away from the West Wing after staffers from Trump's transition team began preparing executive offices for the new administration. On Trump's orders, one of Obama's most secretive rituals was being reversed and all the signs of it removed from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. For the last 8 years, to appease any Muslims working at or visiting the White House, silence has been ordered during the 5 times of Islamic prayer each day. In addition, prayer rugs, crescent moon symbols are available in several areas of the executive mansion to make Muslims more comfortable. The administration has defended the practice by asserting that it also observes several other religious monuments or moments of silence and prayer out of respect, including a full 15 seconds for Christianity on Sunday morning, while a chaplain blesses a staff breakfast. None of the prayers is mandatory or led by a government official, which has allowed the administration to subvert First Amendment issues, but obviously favoritism toward Islam, which was observed 25 minutes per day, 7 days a week, tells the story this president had denied for 8 years. President-elect Trump, who acknowledges that this country was founded by Christians and was built on Christian morals, is having all the pagan symbols removed from the property unless they offer some historical significance. The only cross in the White House chapel will remain for worship. One of the heads of the team of the transition will transform the White House from Obama's home to Trump's second home. As he was telling MSNBC, he says that Mr. Trump doesn't see the need for providing prayer rugs and false idols in a house built by Christians. Washington, D.C. offers a diverse cultural center for worship of any kind. You don't find any special consideration for Judaism or crucifixions to appease Catholics either. There is a simple chapel with a single cross on one wall that is suitable for prayer by anyone. Our government doesn't need to be forcing prayer rituals down people's throats, so we don't offend apologizing people looking to blow us up. Patriots around the U.S. can rest assured that apologizing for our faith has come to an end. And to that I say, praise the Lord. On another issue in dealing with Obama, as he left office, as we mentioned in a previous report, there was a last-minute $221 million payout to them. Well, just as Trump got wind of it, he froze that money. According to the Times of Israel, the Trump administration has formed the Palestinian Authority that is freezing the transfer of $221 million. Was quietly authorized by the Obama administration in the final hours on January 20th, a senior Palestinian source told the Times of Israel. The U.S. officials conveyed to the Palestinian Authority Prime Minister on Tuesday that the funds were not to be expected handed over in the immediate future, the source said, who spoke on the condition of anonymity. On Tuesday, the State Department said that it was reviewing the last-minute decision by former Secretary of State John Kerry to see the funds of the Palestinians despite the objections to transfer by congressional Republicans. The department said it would look at the payment and might make adjustments to ensure that it comports with Trump's administration priorities. So it was just one of those interesting items when you wake up and you see this sort of report, first of all, happening, how Obama is sending $221 million of taxpayer money to this terrorist group of the Palestinians. And then, the first action item, you need to stop it. That's not where we want it to go, so they're obviously reviewing it and hopefully putting the money in the right place as well instead of there. But good for Trump and the administration to put a stop to that. And as a taxpayer, this sort of stuff that Obama did on a regular basis, it just makes you mad. The other thing that made us really mad as a taxpayer is, and makes us furious, is how Obama funded Planned Parenthood, $500 million, of taxpayer money. And so, again, this is something that will come to a stop. I know the international part of this has put an end as an executive order went out. But again, this Planned Parenthood, so many people are deceived by this. It's a name that is very deceptive. They don't help pregnant women, with prenatal care or anything like that. They are there specifically for abortion. There was a report that came out of the Christian Post, and it was kind of an undercover video that was done, and just all these interviews and going to places, but by live action, went to 97 different Planned Parenthood clinics nationwide to ask if they provide prenatal services to women who want to carry their unborn baby to term. 92 clinics responded by saying that Planned Parenthood doesn't have an OBGYN on staff and only uses their ultrasound equipment on women seeking an abortion to find out if an abortionist will perform a first, second, or trimester abortion. When a live-action investigator went to Planned Parenthood, for example, in Boise, Idaho, seeking prenatal care, the clinic worker admitted that this business name is deceptive, adding that if you're looking to terminate your baby, we can do that. The other live-action investors were told Planned Parenthood offers abortions, they don't offer prenatal care. So the name is very deceptive that so many people are very ignorant of. And on the heels of this past week was the anniversary of the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision. And we also see how there's hundreds of thousands of women and men coming out to march for life. And that's the other thing that we can appreciate of this next president and his administration is a pro-life administration and how they are for life. And on a final report, Brazil orders 11.5 million vaccine doses in the midst of a yellow fever outbreak. This also came out of the Christian Post, and other news agencies had carried this story, how Brazil orders 11.5 million doses of yellow fever vaccines to combat the largest outbreak of diseases in 17 years. Brazil has confirmed 70 cases of yellow fever, 40 which resulted in death, most in rural countries throughout one of the states in Brazil where there's high record numbers of that. This also makes it the largest outbreak of mosquito-borne disease since 2000, when 85 cases of yellow fever were recorded in Brazil. The governor had declared a 180-day state of emergency until the epidemic is brought under control, according to BBC News. So as the Bible talks about, as we're living in the last days, you see diseases and pestilences. We're seeing earthquakes on the rise as well in various places. And so we're seeing and watching all these events that are happening all over the world. And is it exciting to know that Christ can return and the rapture of the church can happen any day? So we're living on the cusp of before the tribulation period, where things are just going to go so crazy, so insane. But seeing the signs of the times and looking at the events from a biblical perspective, we're getting so close to it. So we need to always be ready, be busy serving and focusing on the Lord. Keep looking up, stay in the Word, stay close to Jesus, and let's make every day that we have an opportunity to glorify the Lord. Amen? And that concludes today's update.